How long you'll live after 70. These 5 body clues might already be showing. Do you ever wonder how much time you really have left? Not in numbers, but in strength, in clarity, in ease. They say aging is natural, but no one tells you how quietly your body begins to fade. One forgotten signal at a time. And maybe you felt it too. Not all at once, but slowly. The way walking feels heavier. The way food loses its joy. The way silence at night grows louder than it used to. I want to tell you a story. Not about someone famous, but someone familiar. A man named George. He was strong, capable, and like many of us, he believed he still had time, until the signs came. Soft, strange, easy to miss, but impossible to forget. This video shares 5 signs your body may already be showing you. Signs that quietly hint at how long you may live after 70. George missed them, until he couldn't anymore. And if you stay with me, you may begin noticing them too, while there's still time to listen. Welcome to Wise Elders' Advice, where your years are not a burden, but your greatest strength. If you've ever asked yourself, is this just aging, or is my body asking for help? Comment a number 1 below, so you know you're not the only one wondering. Let's begin with the first sign George didn't see coming. Signal 1. Slower walking. The silent predictor of longevity. Some changes do not shout. They arrive slowly, one shorter stride at a time. Do you ever wonder how much time you really have left? Not in numbers, but in something quieter. How strong your legs still feel. How steady your hands are. How long your breath lasts when you walk across the room. They say aging is natural. But no one tells you how quietly the body begins to change. Not with shouts, but with whispers. George was 70 when it began. He did not notice it at first, because life does not knock. It softens. One morning, he crossed the street and the light turned red while he was still halfway. That never used to happen. He laughed it off, told himself it was the cold air, or maybe his shoes. But the next week, he was late for his bus, not because of traffic, but because it now took him 5 extra minutes to walk down the block. Then came the moment he could not forget. He slipped, just slightly, while stepping off the curb. His wife reached out. Her hand caught his. Her eyes held worry. He had not seen that look in years. That night, George sat quietly at the dinner table. He did not say it out loud, but something inside him whispered, "You're not just slower. You're not listening." Doctors call walking speed a predictor of longevity. Studies have shown that slower gait in our 70s can signal higher risks of falls, of memory loss, of earlier decline, not because of age alone, but because the body is already asking for help. So George began again. He added 5 minutes to his morning walks, not far, not fast, just present. He started doing light stretches while the kettle boiled. Some days he did not feel like it, but he still stood up. He moved, so his body would not forget how. You ever notice how stairs feel longer than they used to? Maybe your body is not failing you. Maybe it is waiting for you to move with it, not against it. Maybe we do not walk just to get somewhere. Maybe we walk to stay connected to who we still are. Signal 2. Loss of appetite. When the body stops craving joy. Some mornings, even the smell of toast feels too heavy. George had always started his mornings with oatmeal, rolled oats, a touch of cinnamon. Banana on the side. Simple, familiar, warm. But one winter he left the bowl untouched. Then he stopped making it altogether. Not because he was full, but because he simply did not feel hungry anymore. He told his daughter it was nothing. "Old folks eat less," he said with a shrug. But then he started skipping lunch, and dinner became a slice of bread. Sometimes not even that. 3 weeks later, while getting dressed, he noticed his pants slipping down, his belt notched tighter, his cheeks looked hollow in the mirror. He had lost 7 pounds. Then came the night he stood up too fast and had to catch himself on the counter. He felt lightheaded. Shaky. His doctor called it early-stage malnutrition. Not dramatic, but dangerous. The truth is, appetite is more than eating. It is a signal of energy, of rhythm, of life. When the body stops asking for food, sometimes it is not full. It is fading. George changed. He did not force large meals. He began with color, a bowl of strawberries, even if he only ate 3. He started cooking with his granddaughter, not to feed himself but to share something. He ate outside once a week, just for the light. You ever look at your plate and feel nothing? Maybe it is not your stomach that needs feeding. Maybe it is your spirit. And sometimes, the smallest bite, shared with care, is enough to begin again. Signal 3. Restless sleep. When the night stops, holding you. Some ceilings speak louder than our thoughts ever could. George used to sleep through the night. No alarms. No tossing, no 3 a.m. sighs. But then came the season when sleep forgot him. It started with one night, wide awake, staring at the ceiling fan. Not afraid. Not in pain, just unsettled. The next night was the same. Then the next. He told himself it was just a phase. But one morning, he found himself nodding off at the kitchen table. Later that week, he forgot where he placed the car keys. He felt foggy, slow. His doctor gently explained, sleep disruptions in older adults are common. Melatonin fades, cortisol rises earlier. But chronic restlessness? It eats at memory, mood, and heart health over time. So George stopped fighting the night. He started softening it. He turned off screens after dinner. He used lavender oil on his pillow. He wrote in a notebook each night, not because he had anything profound to say, but because it helped empty his mind. And slowly, sleep returned. Not all at once, but in small, kind ways. You ever lie in bed, not tired, not busy, just floating in a silence that used to comfort you? Maybe peace is not about 8 hours. Maybe peace is when your mind finally feels held. Signal 4. Tooth loss. When you stop smiling without meaning. To some, losses are so small, we do not notice them until they change how we show joy. It was a molar. Bottom left. George knew it was coming loose, but he waited. And waited. Then one morning, while eating toast, it cracked. The pain was quick. But what lingered was something else. He did not tell anyone. He just started chewing on the other side. Then, he started avoiding certain foods. Crunchy things. Cold things. Hard things. But it wasn't just food. He stopped laughing as loudly. Avoided long conversations at dinner. When his daughter brought out the birthday cake, he smiled, but did not sing. No one noticed at first. But George felt it. The shrinking. It was not just about teeth. It was about how something so small could change how he showed up. Research shows that older adults with tooth loss often eat less, socialize less, and experience a drop in self-esteem. Not because of vanity, but because they slowly disconnect from what once felt natural, sharing, smiling, speaking freely. One afternoon, his granddaughter said, "Grandpa, I miss your laugh." That night, he looked in the mirror and touched his cheek. It wasn't about fixing the tooth. It was about deciding to stop hiding. So he made soup with friends. He told stories again, even if he had to pause more often. He laughed, wide, slightly lopsided, but real. You ever feel yourself withdrawing, not because of pain, but because of something you cannot quite name? Maybe we don't stop smiling because we are unhappy. Maybe we stop because somewhere along the way we forgot that we're still allowed to show up, even when we feel incomplete. And maybe joy doesn't need all your teeth, just your presence. Signal 5, the quiet blood work. When your body whispers in numbers. Some truths do not shout, they wait in decimal points. George sat on the exam table, legs swinging softly like a child. He held the paper in both hands. It was just numbers. Glucose. Creatinine. Something about liver enzymes. Everything looks fine, the nurse had said. So George folded the paper and tucked it into the side pocket of his coat. He did not look at it again, but over the next few months, he felt tired in a new way. Not sleepy, not sore, just heavier inside. He lost interest in his garden, skipped church twice, not because he meant to, but because he forgot what day it was. And one morning, while tying his shoes, his hands trembled slightly. He paused, blinked, tied the knot anyway. At his next appointment, the doctor sat a little closer. George, some of your markers, they're not urgent, but they are speaking. Your kidneys are working harder. Your sugar is drifting higher, and if we don't listen now, we may lose time we cannot get back. George went home that day, found the folded paper, and finally read every line. It was not fear that hit him. It was clarity. The body speaks, not in pain, but in patterns. And the longer we wait to listen, the louder the consequences. He didn't make big changes, just walked more, ate softer. Slept when his eyes asked, not when the clock said. He kept a small notebook, just to track how he felt. Not medically, but gently. And for the first time in months, he felt like his body wasn't declining. It was responding. You ever tuck something away because you didn't want to know what it might say? Maybe it's time to open that drawer again. Not out of fear, but out of love. Because the numbers do not define you, but they might still save you. If that moment felt familiar, you can comment 5 below. You're not alone in ignoring things that quietly mattered. George is 75 now. He still walks slower than he used to, still forgets the grocery list sometimes, still wakes at 4 a.m. More often than he wants. But he listens now, not just to doctors, but to the quiet. He listens to the way his legs speak after 10 minutes of walking, to the silence of his plate when his appetite leaves, to the pause in his breath when sleep does not come, to the pull behind his smile when he hesitates to laugh, and to the numbers that once whispered, but now guide him softly. He does not chase youth. He does not fear age. He just pays attention, because the body does not scream when it needs care. It sighs, it slows, it waits. And if we listen early, we can live not longer, but deeper. If something in George's story felt familiar, you can share it below. Not for answers, but to remind someone else. They are not the only one. And if this video held you even a little, you can stay. We're building a quiet space here, where aging isn't a loss, but a return to stillness, to presence, to truth, because even now, your body is still on your side. And maybe all it has ever wanted was for you to finally hear it.